Nazanin Zaghari-Ratcliffe has been, Zaghari-Ratcliffe, I should say, has been in prison in Iran as a political prisoner. She was accused, I believe, of being a spy 6 years ago, and she has been stuck there ever since. Obviously, 6 years is a hell of a long time. There's been a lot of different there's been, God, however many Tory prime ministers in that time. There's been a couple of general elections. Then there's been plenty of different ministers in the cabinet sort of shifting around and slithering throughout different roles in the great offices of state. And she was certainly not going to just lay down and heap praise upon the government that has left her for dead for 6 years, because she's finally home. She's finally home, and that's obviously absolutely wonderful news. And she did a press conference, and I think it's worth taking a look at what she said.
The journey back home was tough. I grant what Richard said, to thank the Foreign Secretary. I do not really agree with him on that level. I'm going to tell you that because I have seen 5 foreign secretaries changed over the course of 6 years. That is unprecedented given the politics of the UK. I love you, Richard. Respect whatever you believe. But I was told many, many times that, oh, we're going to get you home. That never happened. So there was a time that I felt like, do you know what? I'm not even going to trust you because I've been told many, many times that I'm going to be taken home. But that never happened. I mean, how many foreign secretaries does it take for someone to come home? 5? It should have been one of them eventually. So now here we are. What's happened now should have happened 6 years ago. I think we all know this is, I'm assuming this is going to be public knowledge of how I came home.
It's fair to assume.
I'm not going to mention, I don't know the details, but what took me home now on the very same day, 17th of March 2022, that is the very same day that I left London, 17th of March 2016, to go on a 2-week holiday, and I never returned on the flight that I was coming back home with. But I think it should have happened exactly 6 years ago. I shouldn't have been in prison for 6 years.
That's pretty. It's a pretty baller move, to be honest. She's just been released from these horrible circumstances, and she's not just gonna kind of lay down and be grateful for coming back eventually. Obviously, it's fantastic that she's home. It's fantastic that she didn't spend another minute as a prisoner, away from her family, away from her home. But she's absolutely right here. Obviously, this idea that the government deserve massive amounts of praise, that we should all sort of hail the current foreign secretary and the whole foreign office as heroes is really, it's just an unrepresentative view of the reality of the situation. Nazanin was a prisoner in Iran a long time ago, 6 years, she said, and the solution that the government offered to Iran was to just pay off the debt that we owed them, right? And I think it was something, I think it was about £400 million. Right? Now, in terms of government spending, that's not actually that much money, certainly in terms of government debt. So that solution could have been implemented, a month after she was imprisoned. Of course, the government doesn't want to immediately capitulate to the demands of a foreign power. I understand that, but you're telling me that there was an easy solution, a solution where the government could spend this money and bring someone home to their family. And at the end of the day, I thought right-wingers loved when countries pay off their debts. I thought they hated it when countries were in debt. I thought that was the reason that they didn't support spending on vital social programs or upgrading our infrastructure or investing in green industry and decent quality jobs. I thought that was the reason they were fine with school kids not having the right equipment in school and being in classes of 35, 40 kids, teachers not getting paid enough, nurses having a real-term pay decrease since the Tories came to power. I thought that was the whole reason that they supported that. That they think, no, any debt is bad, deficit's bad. But now they take 6 years to pay off this debt, which is a comparatively small debt to pay off for a sovereign nation as wealthy as the UK, because of what? Because of pride? Because we're better than Iran? What? I don't get what the reason was. And I think, you know, it's really, really brave, and it's fantastic of Nazanin to say that, to stand up to the government. And it's absolutely understandable that she didn't feel like she could trust her own government. I know most people don't, but in this circumstance, this is one of those times where absolutely trust is essential between a citizen and their government. And she just couldn't have it because the government had failed her time and time again. They'd said they were going to bring her home, and then they didn't. And of course, Boris Johnson was the foreign secretary for some of that time. You know, God only knows the kind of screw-ups that he made. In fact, I'm fairly certain his comments were part of the reason that she was imprisoned in the first place.